This is No Way of No Way Out Radio. Tonight I wanted to look at the Matrix. Are we living in a Matrix? The short answer is yes. Our minds are being shaped into what to believe, what to know is true, that our own thoughts cannot be trusted. What we see to be real right before us is not real. But they will give us the interpretation that we need to make an informed decision. Over the years, how has this affected us? How has this changed the way that we see ourselves? Are we living in the Matrix? Or are we just fooling ourselves? We start here tonight, as you can see. We're looking into a school system. This is the school system where I live. Prepare respectful, responsible, and creative thinkers for success in the global community. And of course, the career and college readiness is 2 triangles, showing you the illusion of a matrix. What is a matrix? A matrix are these 2 realities right here, ladies and gentlemen. Those 2 realities coexisting. But one cannot be aware of the other. For if one was aware of the other, the matrix would fall apart. What would I mean by such foolishness? This is a school system that is preparing respectful and responsible and creative thinkers. When I asked my sons about this, and I asked them both, were you allowed to think for yourself? Were you allowed to look at things, analyze things, find the problem, and then think through a solution? And they both said no. They told us what was offensive, what was not allowed, which we all know today now is God. Any mention of God, any mention of anything that has to do with Jesus Christ and the authority of God over all as a creator is not allowed in a school system. We see that many times over. Respectful. They are telling these children what is respectful to say, think, and do, and what is not. They are deeming what is offensive. Then the creative thinking, as they call it, comes in, because now they create a reaction, which is usually lashing out. They have fully indoctrinated our youth for a few decades now into this way of thinking of the global community. So now we have children that believe America is the worst country in the world. We are just tyrants and bullies, and we just force our will onto the weak. While they, in masses, indoctrinated, are forcing their will. But they don't see that because they live within the matrix. If I were to tell you, this is green. This is green. This is blue. green, blue. No matter which one I show you, I have the backing of the matrix to convince you that this is green and this is blue. So once I have you convinced this is blue and this is green, I can turn you against the awake, those that are woken up and can see reality that is right before them. And you will find it very offensive. You will defend your belief that this is green and this is blue through whatever means necessary. So here is your creative thinkers. They're not being allowed to look at the blue algorithm and say, no, you're wrong. That color was deemed blue many years ago. And if you look at your Bible, Adam picked it. He named them. He picked it. He colored them. But today, they can convince a 4-year-old that God does not exist. Government is the only power that can and will protect you, will provide everything for you. And as far as that offensive gender that the white man has put upon you, the white men of the world, you don't have to be a male if you don't want to. You don't have to be a female if you don't want to. So they are indoctrinating the young minds of your children, and it has been deemed through the matrix as acceptable and what is needed to have a society of love, as those that you are told are to be allowed into the matrix are only there to destroy you. And as we see in the world today, put those to death that refuse to follow the order of the matrix. For those of us that are awake, we look for the answers. We look for the answers within ourselves. We look at our lives. We examine them. And we understand also this is what is being forced and used, and how they create the falsehoods within a matrix. This is a chart, ladies and gentlemen, that, as you see, global temperatures 2500 BC to 2040 AD. I can't believe that you can still find this on the internet, because liberals have deemed BC, before Christ, is deemed offensive and hate speech. AD, after death, is the same. It is offensive and hate speech because it is offensive. Even though on this chart, 4 BC, birth of Christ. What this chart is saying is back here in 2500 BC, before Christ, it was warm and it cooled, and we had these little coolings. So what they do is they have determined that, I guess somebody was back there 2500 years ago recording in legal document that we can use today to prove beyond the shadow of a doubt that all this stuff happened in this era, somewhere back between 1900 BC and 1500 BC. We had this cold snap. Now we're coming from 1500 BC all the way to 550 BC. It's very warm. And as you see, even here in 1100 BC, because I guess the scientists of 1100 BC were back there to tell you it was even hotter than it is today. But look what they show you over here in their falsehoods and in their lies. They're trying to claim that man is creating, look at all of this greenhouse gas. Even though from here, even actually right from here in 1800, this is 1700, this is 1600 right here, 1700s right here. This is the time, around the time of Columbus, 1400. In this area, but we have this little ice age. And they're saying that all of these that now they've recorded, see, this is where they're getting their opinionated science for the Matrix to indoctrinate the masses. Look at all of these volcanic eruptions. These are recorded because it is within our recorded history that has been documented and kept. Out into here, well, they got this one. Jamestown was founded and they had an eruption, so you have bits and pieces. Back here you see all the way back to 1300 you have some, but these to me are more speculation. 1335 to 1360. They're talking Alaska and Iceland and Italy. Italy, I can see Italy recording these volcanic eruptions. What was really in the Pacific, Alaska, Iceland. These are areas now where they're doing this fake carbon dating stuff, but I digress. But what I'm saying is all of this here, ladies and gentlemen, is opinionated theory based on opinionated science. It is in their opinion that if these happenings in this amount of time can cause this, then it's a good possibility that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened. It's all speculation. That's all it is. Because what are they claiming right here, ladies and gentlemen? Somewhere between the 1800s and the so-called start of the industrial age here in America, our temperature tanked. Oh, and then it shot right, look at it, right straight back up. And this is all of our pollution that we're creating. So we have these new young millennial, call her whatever you will, Cortez from New York. Socialism, 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 cow farts, you name it. Every idiocracy ever told to the millennials is coming out of her mouth today into the Matrix. This is manufactured to look the way they want it to look, ladies and gentlemen. Question marks, they don't know, and oh look, it's going to go up and up and up. But yet we know that within this time period here that they're showing, we have proven to ourselves, those that are awake, that the temperatures are not doing what they're doing. The ice caps on the north and south poles are expanding once again. But this is all speculation. That's all it is. And it is fear tactics. It is for control of the energy. It is control over your life. Which leads me to, we need to think of, why would God have Matrix in the Bible today? Is showing us the matrix that is being pushed upon the people, this theory, these adjoining realms. God is reassuring the Christian and the true believer, the saints, his servants, I am the matrix. They are of the earth. Know the difference between the two. Thou shalt set apart unto the Lord all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh of a beast which thou hast, the male shall be the Lord's. Matrix is matrix. We understand what a matrix is. For in this end time, the matrix that they do not want you to understand the difference, there are happenings upon this earth. Blue is not green, and green is not blue. This was my awakening, ladies and gentlemen. This is where I got woke up to what was happening. "20 years ago, it was clear to me that there were two entities upon this earth. There was good and there was evil. Within good, it is not always happy. It is not always perfect. The road is not smooth. But in the matrix, they give you the illusion that it all is. Everything is fine. Everything is perfect. Everything is working wonderfully. And don't worry about nothing, because we're going to foresee the problems and we're going to fix the problems for you. 20 years ago, I had my wife and I, our set of twins. One of the twins was diagnosed at 6 months old with spinal muscular atrophy. It's a severe form of muscular dystrophy, which is terminal. It does eventually take them. They just deteriorate. They can't function. And it happens. But we can't blame God. Not when this gift right here that you're seeing before you on this screen came from my aunt a month after my son had passed, or excuse me, a week after my son had passed. I got a card in the mail and this poem was in it. My uncle that had passed away 2 years before the twins were born always carried this because he thought it was neat. But it tells the story of everything has a purpose. Even you. You have a purpose. God has a purpose for you. The name of the poem was Heaven's Very Special Child. A meeting was held quite far from earth. It's time for another birth, said the angels to the Lord above. This child will need much love. His progress may seem very slow, accomplishments he may not show. He will require extra care from the folks he meets down there. He may not run or laugh or play, his thoughts may seem quite far away. In many ways he won't adapt, and he'll be known as handicapped. So let's be careful where he's sent. We want his life to be content. Please, Lord, find the parents who will do this special job for you. They will not realize right away the role, the leading role they're asked to play. But with this child sent from above comes stronger faith and richer love. And soon they'll know the privilege given, caring for this gift from heaven. Their precious charge, so meek and mild, is heaven's very special child. God had the purpose. This poem has gone on many times, to many families, to many places. Not only did my son and this poem lead me back to what God wanted for me in the first place, but it gave me a whole new understanding of where I need to be in my walk in this life, and what I need to do in my time that remains. For every waking day for me is a gift from God, and I need to start using them more wisely than what I was. Even though I've been doing things like this for a long time. I'd like to call her a friend, even though we've only associated back and forth a little bit on YouTube. You need to understand, ladies and gentlemen, there are very good people everywhere in many different aspects that are awoken. I see much division. I see much greed and vain ego. For those that are trying to make ends meet, and they are looking into different means, and I don't care if it is YouTube. Asking people, finding ways, I need extra money to live. This beast system is destroying us, and this is where we all need to work together. And those that have a little extra, remember, what you have is a gift from God, and how you use what you have, if it be money, talent, or the wisdom within your head, within your life, share that. That's what God wants. This poem would have been lost if it were not for what I have been through and what happened. But now this poem will go forth in many different ways, not just carried in a wallet, but I am putting it to use to comfort those parents that they've lost a loved one. They've lost a child at any age. But they need to understand still, every child is a gift from heaven. Some are just more special than others. For these people today, within the matrix to feel okay with, well, this child's going to have this disorder and that disorder, so we're just going to abort the child. Now they're okaying, let the baby be born, and oh, well, no, the child is mentally retarded. I'll abort him. Put him to death. I'll try again next time. Really? God sends you a very special child, asking you to take care of this child. Don't let the matrix ruin who you are. The matrix is not there to teach us. As we saw here, Joel, we will be coming on. I'm going to do a video on this. Down here you see it's in context of where we are today. But just remember, and it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your old men shall dream dreams, your young men shall see visions. This is what the matrix, this is the truth within the matrix. They don't want you to know, they don't want you to believe in. Because when they're back here with the children and they're preparing respectful, responsible, and creative thinkers, so that when anything comes in the world or around the world into America, these youth will immediately accept it without question. And the matrix will continue to tell them as murders and death and mayhem commences within our streets that there's nothing to see here. We'll take care of this. We'll pass the laws and the restrictions, and we'll raise the taxes in order to fund it. But we'll keep you safe. So go back to sleep, little sheep, for the slaughter has not come yet. See your own reality for what it truly is, ladies and gentlemen. Do not allow your children to be brought into this that you see before you. Understand where the problem lies. It is not taboo to speak out against a corrupt, indoctrinating political-driven school system. They are not teaching your children, they are indoctrinating your children. God only created two genders. If later on in life everybody has the right to choose their own path, free will is free will. They will be judged upon the decisions they make. Nobody but nobody on this earth, for we are all just sinners. None are worthy. Jesus Christ paid that price for us. So, when we awaken and we see the matrix for what the matrix is, all we can do is stay awake and find the ones that are willing to wake up as well. For if those that are not willing to wake up and be unplugged from the matrix or see reality for what it truly is, do not wake those that are asleep. Chances are you can't save them. They will resent you when they see that everything they hold dear first is wrong, and now what they thought they had, they don't have. Many will just lash out in hatred and anger and do everything in their power to destroy you, silence you, blacklist you, whatever it is. Life is very complex, all on its own. But be awake, stay awake, understand. They are the matrix. We are not. We must stay awake for our own salvation. For if you do not see and live your reality for what you know to be true, they will tell you what your reality is, and it will not be true. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. This is No Way Out.